All right, so continuing with the development of our Mandelbulb 3D scene so that we can discover an interesting environment by which we can animate. All right, so let's see what we can do. So I'm gonna go back over to my formulas. Okay, I'm not quite happy with this scene. Like I was saying in the last session, I think that this scene is too repetitive. All right, I want more variation in it. Now there's a couple ways I can do this variation. Looking at the navigator, as you know, I've got three formulas. I've got Amazing Box, I've got a box varies scale, and I've got a second Amazing Box here. And we know from over when we put these things together that these formulas are alternating. All right, they're alternating, but they are impacting one another. So the secret to the sauce here is going to be really how these formulas interact based upon their properties. All right. So I'll tell you what, I am going to go over to, I don't know if I want to do this or not. Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm going to save this because I know that I'm going to be making a pretty significant change here. I'm close. I mean, I could take and run with this. I'm not quite really satisfied just yet. So I'm going to do I'm going to back over on the main window here. I'm going to do a 2 clipboard. All right, I'm going to fire up my notepad. I'm going to paste that into my notepad. That gives me something that I can return to after I've made my adjustment. Back over to the navigator. Amazon, Amazing Box, Amazon, AmazingBox.com. I spend too much money on Amazon, so it's Amazon on my mind. Amazing Box. All right, I'm going to get myself on minimum here because I don't want to get too crazy. I'm going to experiment now by adjusting the scale. All right, so there's my scale. Crazy. Let's take a look at it here. I've lost so much. So I'm gonna change the scale back. Basically, I want less scale. All right. So what I did here with the first Amazing Box scale is I made the scale. I basically made the scale. Let's see. What did I do? I made the scale smaller, so everything got smaller. If I make the scale bigger, all right, everything kind of grows. So I want more detail. I want more stuff around me. I think that's basically where I was. All right, let's go crazy here. We have a backup here. We're okay. Okay, we can afford to go a little crazy. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Let's take a look here. Main, calculate. Well, it's alien. It's alien, but it's not quite what I want. All right, I'm gonna do something like that. Come over, I'm gonna play with the fold here. Yeah. Interesting. Not quite what we want. Let's take a look at it anyway. Nah. I'm going to revert. I'm going to Control A, Control C to copy that back to my Windows clipboard. Come over to Open from Clipboard, recalculate, pull it over, pull the parameters over. By the way, I don't have to wait for this to render to pull the parameters over. The parameters were already loaded. If I get on my formula tab, the formula parameters were immediately loaded, although it was working on the rendering. So I can pull the parameters back over to the navigator even if I'm rendering, so that's okay. A little tidbit there. All right, so let's. I'm gonna keep my backup here. All right, because I'm going to continue to work with this. Let's go over to Amazing Box number 3. Oh, my bad. I clicked the wrong thing. But whoa, now that's interesting. All right, I intended to click the formula up and down, but what I did is I went from 1 iteration to 2 iterations on this amazing box, and this is something very interesting. View to main. I don't know. I think maybe I've discovered something. Hey, let's go to iteration. Let's go to 3 iterations. That really 4 iterations. Interesting. 5 iterations. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Nah. With 10 iterations of this this first Mandelbox, I'm just making the whole thing all muddled. There's too much being manipulated. Let's back this off. Let's take a look at this environment here. Okay, now if I were to stay with this is not quite my objective for this Mandelbulb animation, but if I were to stay with this, I'm thinking, can I animate that? And yes, I most certainly can. But I probably will be pretty much confined to animating over the scene, because here you'll note that it seems that I have like no Mandelbulb image above, but I have like a flat terrain. So this would make an interesting animation to fly over. All right, I could do some pretty clever things with this, and that would be a lot of fun to fly over. But still, what I have in mind for this project is I want to fly through. I want to be in an environment where everything is around me, up and down and left and right. I want to fly through an environment, whereas this I could fly over. Now, what's interesting about the Mandelbulb 3D fractal design environment is, I've said it before, you discover your fractal object or environment or view or scene or whatever you want to call it. You discover it. And it's easy to discover something and say, aha, that's what I want to do. If you keep going, you'll say, I want to discover that. Oh, I'd like to do that, but let me keep going. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, that's pretty cool. This is neat. And so you tend to find so many interesting graphical scenes, environments, views, structures, whatever you want to call them, that you keep you have a tendency to get waylaid, and you stop and you say, that's interesting, I'll do that. And so you chase that down and maybe even bring it to a conclusion. Now look, we all go through that. You discover so many interesting fractal environments that you want to pursue them all. There's just not enough time in the day to pursue all of these interesting Mandelbulb discoveries. All right. So what I do is, if I like that scene and I think that that has potential, but it's not quite what I want to do today, I'll save it, you know, and I might save it as an M3I where I have the image, or even better, I'll save it as a JPEG plus M3P. Now we talked about that. We talked about that way back there. When did we talk about that? I was talking about saving in, okay, here we go. Session 9. Session 9, I was talking about saving. So I'm not going to rehash that, but I will tell you this, that as I go along and I find something interesting, but I don't want to pursue it at that time, what I'll do is I'll save it as a JPEG and a M3P. And then when I'm bored and I've got nothing better to do, I'll actually open this thing up. I'll open up the folder and I'll start poking around. Let's say, here's what I'll do. I'll say Mandelbulb3D, so I know it's a Mandelbulb, and I'll put a date in there. I'll say 9, what is it, the 24th, 2023, and I'll say interesting flyover scene, something like that. All right, now that's good enough. Now that's my JPEG and my MP3. So now I've saved this interim thing that was quite interesting. I've saved it off. I'm going to just kind of go back to what I was working on, and by just putting my iterations back, I'm back to where I was. I'll push that over to main, refresh that. So what I've done is I've captured a discovery that if I had pursued that discovery, it would have thrown me off from the project that I was working on. You put all this effort into fine tweaking and everything else, and then you find something else to do, and if you go chase that, well, you may be having fun, but you may not actually be getting to a point where you have a final project that you might be able to publish or share with others. So temporarily save. So anyway, that's just part of my workflow that I've shared with you. Well, we're out of time on this particular session. We're over time, but that's all right. That was worth covering. So let's end this session here. We're going to pick this up again on the next session, and I'm going to continue somehow, some way to find a Mandelbulb3D environment that I want to run with for this particular tutorial series. I'll see you in the next session.